Hey y'all, welcome back to my live broadcast. I'm Shanta Prince and I help women coaches to build personal brands, create high ticket offers, and get paying clients. So I'm back to talk to you today about getting over the fear of sales. Now, this is something that, when it comes to building a brand that's profitable, you got to have sales because if you're not selling, you're not making any money. If you're not making any money, you don't have a business. And so this is one of the things that I really struggled with early on because I was creating offers that I didn't validate or I wasn't sure if people even liked. I just assumed that they would like this and they would buy it. And so early on in my business, I really had to learn how to take a step back and actually figure out like what makes people buy, what actually makes people look at what you're offering, look at you, your brand, how you are, what your delivery style is, what your story is, and what makes the right people say yes. And notice I said the right people because selling to the wrong people, that's the worst thing that you can do. So I really had to take a step back and start learning what makes people buy, like what kind of offers actually sell. And that is why I actually help. Let me grab my notes. That is why I actually help my clients. One of the first things that I help my clients to do is create their offer because I've fallen down enough times when it comes to creating and selling offers where I know how it can be really difficult to create a solid offer that you know for sure is going to sell. So, when it comes to selling, there are a lot of fears around selling. And I know this because I've had a lot of these fears, but also in working with my clients and also talking to some of you in the DMs, I understand the fears that keep you back from selling and in turn keep you back from actually growing your business. So you already understand, I don't need to tell you that you need money so that your business can run, not just run, but you want to be able to do the things that you started the business to be able to do, like take your vacations, pay for private school, retire your spouse. I know a lot of you want to retire your husband. um, and so there's so many things that go into being able to run a profitable business and also being able to live the kind of life you want. But it all starts with breaking through the fear of that you have around selling. So the first thing is that I want to talk a little bit more about this as well. If you are inside of the Facebook group, I know some of you are watching me on LinkedIn, some of you are watching on YouTube, but if you're watching me and you're inside of my Facebook group, then you know that I talked about a free sales class that I'm offering on Friday, tomorrow night, and all you have to do is invite somebody to join the group. So, um, scroll in the group and check out the guidelines for getting access to that free sales class. Now, I will admit to you that this is not something that I would normally teach openly. This kind of stuff that I'm teaching on Friday night is normally reserved for my clients only. So I promise you that it will be worth your while. It will be worth those invites. And I really wanted to give some immense value because I see so many gaps that could be closed up with just putting just a few principles in place. So if you want to get access to that free sales class on Friday night, just invite some people to the group. Scroll up to the top and hit that invite button. Um, and then to the person who invites the most people to the group, you actually get a private session with me where I will help you to design your high ticket offer. So get those invites going and let's just dive into the content. So let's talk about this whole sales thing. So lately, I just mentioned to a friend a few weeks ago, and I said, I'm really starting to enjoy talking about sales. Like I have been immersing myself in all things around sales because I understand the power of being able to sell, being able to close sales, and it's so powerful. And the thing about sales is no one is born being able to sell. Okay, well, maybe my son. My son is 7, and this little guy has negotiation skills that like I've never seen. Like he knows how to negotiate. Like I could have my mind made up about something, and then by the time he's done negotiating, I've given him the thing that he was asking for. Even his sister sends him to ask for things because she knows that once he gets a yes, she's going to be able to enjoy whatever he's asking for. So even she'll send him in to ask for stuff. So he's my little negotiator. But there are skills that go into being able to sell effectively that like none of us are really born with. You have to develop the skills, and that's why this month and on for the entire first quarter of the month, my clients and I are all really focusing in on sales because I believe that whatever you focus on grows. So if your focus is on increasing sales, you're going to increase sales because that's what you're focusing on. See, some people focus on, oh my gosh, I don't want to not have enough clients. I don't want to not be able to pay for this or pay for that. So you focus too much on what you don't want and you're not able to achieve what you actually do want. And so my clients and I are spending the first entire quarter of the year just really focusing in on sales. So I've been listening to some of the sales greats, it's all, and also my own mentors as well. But I'm like so immersed in it, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like I feel like why didn't I like really dive deep into sales before? Like when I first started out, I was just doing what I knew to do and learning as I went along. So now my experience, my hands-on experience from learning and making mistakes, plus just really diving in and immersing myself into this thing has really shifted my perspective on a lot of things. And I've been also able to help my clients to achieve some of the things that they want to achieve. I have a client right now who's working on hitting certain sales goals, and she's already crushing it. And so the other thing too, it's really great to have people who don't flinch when you say, "Oh, I want to make $1 million, or I want to make $600,000, or whatever your whatever your number is." Right? If you have people in your life like that that you can talk to, because sometimes people can like respond a certain way, and that your sales goals are already crushed before you even get started because you said something, and then now someone is looking at you sideways because they're like, how is she going to do that? And so anyway, the fears that come along with selling. The number one fear that I'm seeing that you guys are dealing with, I think everybody deals with this initially. Most people deal with this fear when they're just getting started, but that is the fear of rejection. The fear of rejection can keep you from asking because you're afraid of the no. And I used to do like different multi-level marketing businesses. Like I've tried Mary Kay. I love Mary Kay products. So I tried Mary Kay. I've tried like Mana V. I've tried a bunch of other like multi-level marketing businesses, and they never really worked well for me, or we can say maybe I never really worked well for them. But one of the fears when I first, that was my first experience with a fear of selling, is my first multi-level marketing business. And I was just like really afraid that people were just going to say no. And because of that, I just didn't sell anything. So the thing is, fear of rejection comes in because you know that you're afraid that people are going to say no. But when you understand that it comes as a part of the territory when it comes to sale. Yes, people are going to tell you no, but then people are also going to tell you yes. And so what you really have to focus on when it comes to getting better at sales is being prepared for people to say no, but not allowing that to crush your spirit to the point where you crawl into a cave and you don't come out. I've done that before. I've done it before where I've launched something, it didn't sell, and so I crawled into a cave and didn't come out for a long time. So I'm saying that because I know what I'm talking about. So yes, people are going to tell you no. People are going to leave your groups. They're going to unsubscribe from your email list. They're going to do all the things. And it's just a part of the territory that comes with being an entrepreneur. And so once you understand, that's like, yeah, like one of my clients is like, when I was breaking down the numbers with her about how she can reach her sales goal, she was like, you know what? The numbers are really helping me right now. And she's starting to understand that you got to get some no's to get the yeses, according to how the numbers work out and how things flow together when you're um, asking for the consultation, or when you're asking for the sale. You're going to get a certain amount of no's before you can get a certain amount of yeses. It's just the way that the thing works. And when you understand that, then you have a different approach because you already know, okay, yes, people are going to tell me no. I'm trying to get to my yeses, right? So think about how many no's you got to go through to get to that yes. So like I was just thinking about this time when I was in high school. I told y'all a story before about when I used to run track and how I did this 200 200-meter dash, and I wasn't prepared for it. I didn't warm up, and my muscles cramped up at the end of the race. Well, I have another story to tell you about when I used to run track. And when I would practice, I had like friends and they would do the hurdles and they were so good at it. But I would do the hurdles, but I would only do the hurdles in practice. Like when we were in track practice, I would do the hurdles. But I was pretty good at it. And the thing is, for some reason, we had this practice, these practice hurdles, and they were made out of some type of fabric, nylon fabric, and they were soft, basically, is what I'm trying to say. So if you kick over a hurdle or you knock over a hurdle and fall on top of it, it's perfectly okay because it was kind of like a pillow. And so the other thing about these hurdles, for some reason, they seemed a little bit lower than the real hurdles. And so one day my coach did it to me again, y'all. Like when I told you about the 200-meter dash, how she threw me in that 200-meter dash at the last moment. So if you don't know the story, to make it short, I was at a track meet and one of my teammates got hurt. And so my coach threw me in her race at the very last minute, and it was a cold day. I ran the race, but my muscles cramped up at the very end of the race, and I nearly like fell on my face. But now that I'm telling you the story about the hurdles, I'm like, wait, she did it to me again with the hurdles. So that situation came up again, and she was like, Shanta, I need you to do, and with the hurdles, it was a 110-meter dash with the hurdles. And so she put me in this race with the hurdles, and I'm like, I guess she figured, like, since I did it in practice and I did a great job, I can crush it, right? So I get out there, and it was so funny, guys, because my mom was watching me from the parking lot, and so I get in this get in this race, and they shoot the gun, and I take off, y'all. I was leaping over the hurdles, but the tip of my foot would hit every hurdle, right? So every hurdle that I jumped over, the tip of my foot would grab it and pull the hurdle down. Now, the hurdles, the way that they were made, it will go down and it will rock back up because it had like a curve on the front. So it will go down and then it will rock back up. So every single hurdle that I jumped over, the back of my foot grabbed it and made it rock down and rock back up. And so every single hurdle that I jumped over fell over. So I said all that to say that I finally made it to the finish line. Of course, obviously, I didn't make it in first place. I probably was in last place, but I had to go over all of these hurdles before I could finally get to the finish line. So in my head, I'm thinking to myself, dang, like I couldn't get the height that I knew I needed to be able to jump over those hurdles. And it's probably because the hurdles in practice were just too low, lower than the actual hurdle. And so I'm like, dang, I'm thinking in my head, like, how many more of these things do I got to go? Because I'm knocking them all over. So when it comes to sales, it's the same way. Like you got to knock over those no's before you can actually get to those yeses. And it's just a part of how things work. Just like how those hurdles were part of that 110-meter race that I had to run. So when you understand that, when you're like, okay, I'm going to have to work through the processes and work through these no's so that I can get to my yeses. It really helps you to understand that when people are rejecting your offer, that's not rejecting you. You know how many people tell me no on an everyday basis? Like you really like that is something that will make you get some tough skin, some thick skin. If you get started and you're making your offers to people and you start getting no's, that thing will start to, help you to grow some thick skin pretty quickly. And so when you really get into it, by then it's like, okay, listen, I'm used to people telling me no. I'm just trying to get to my yeses. I'm going to keep working this thing and stay persistent until I get the amount of yeses that I need. And so what I'm seeing that a lot of people are really frustrated about is not realizing how many no's you got to go through to actually get to that yes, or how many people, not just no's, but how many people are going to be grumpy when you reach out to them, or how many people are going to have a bad idea about sales. And so now I'm not talking about y'all. I got another situation that I got to tell y'all about. So I'm trying not to go into it right now, but today has been a crazy day, but I'm gonna tell you about today in another video. So if I start going down that path, then you gotta comment in the chat and say, girl, save it for another day. But so many people are just discouraged by like the amount, or not understanding how much it takes to actually really start finding those clients. And it could be discouraging if you don't understand your numbers, if you don't understand like how many people you got to talk to, how many people you got to reach out to. And it could be discouraging because you're like, dang, I talked to 5 people today and all of them were like, "No, I'm not interested in your offer." Someone on my personal page just asked a question and I didn't even get a chance to respond. But she asked a question and she was like, what happens when you go all in and you really are serious about creating your offer and then people say that they will buy your offer and then they don't buy it when you actually create it?" And I'm like, this is the stuff that could be discouraging if you allow it to be. You create this offer and then the very people that said they would buy don't buy. One of my very own clients experienced this herself, where she asked people, "Hey, if I create this, would you guys buy it?" And she messaged me and said, like, most of the people who said they would buy it did not. And so a lot of it goes, a lot of it depends on who you're selling to and what you're selling, and also how you're articulating the value of that thing. Because all of us are, as a whole, human beings are mostly selfish. And what I mean by that is we want to know what's in it for us. So if you're offering me something, I want to know what's in that thing for me. Like what, how am I going to benefit from this? And if you're not able to articulate how someone is going to benefit, then a lot of times people are just standoffish. Like, I don't even know what I'm getting. I've even been in situations where I didn't buy something because even though I know the person and I trust the person, I didn't buy because I'm like, I don't really know what I'm getting. I'm not gonna pull my card out and give you $2,000 when I don't really know what I'm getting. Even though I read the sales page multiple times, and I'm like, I read this whole sales page more than once, and I still don't really know what I'm getting. And so I ended up not buying. I know you've heard this before. If a person is confused, they won't do anything. A confused mind does nothing. And so in that situation, I was confused about like what I'm actually going to get, so I didn't buy. And so sometimes, there's a lot that goes into all of the things that I'm talking about. But if you want to know more, go ahead and get signed up for my Brand and Demand Bootcamp. You can see the link right at the bottom of the screen. Just go to brandanddemandbootcamp.com and get signed up. And I'll go more into detail about all of this, because when you are ready to sell, you've got to have all of your cylinders firing. And I'm going to talk a little bit more about that as well. But you guys, I'm telling you, when you cannot be afraid to make mistakes when it comes to this space. When you're in the coaching, mentorship, or actually in any space in business, you cannot be afraid to make mistakes, because I promise you, your mistakes make you bring even more value to the table. So a lot of the stuff that I talk about is stuff that I failed at before. Right? If I'm still failing in something, I'm not going to be talking to you about it. Like, at the time when I was creating those offers and nobody would buy my offers, I'm not talking to you about creating offers, right? I'm talking to you about creating offers when I know how to create offers. And so now, like, when it comes to sales, like, my clients, like, listen, my clients know how to close a sale in different ways. I always talk about how I want them to understand how to not just sell in one way. And for example, I talk to my mentors about this all the time, about how I was just so used to bringing all of my new clients in by ads. And that was like it. Like, if it wasn't, if they weren't coming in through an ad, then I'm just, I don't know how to bring them in if they're not coming in through an ad. And so what the problem with that is, what happens when the ads don't work? Because sometimes the ads don't work. And if you only know how to bring clients in through ads, when the ads don't work, you're in trouble. And so I like for my clients to know how to sell in any kind of setting, whether it's on a webinar, whether they like doing, like live launches, like how I do, or, their challenges, however they like to launch. I want them to understand how to do it in other ways as well. And so, for example, I always talk about one of my clients who doesn't like to launch. And she closes a lot of her clients in the DMs. She closes a lot of her sales in the direct messages. And that's okay too. But I guarantee you, if something else came up, or if that wasn't working for her, she has other things that she can do to close sales, to find new leads. And so the fear of rejection can really keep you back. And I'm going to tell you the truth. I told you guys, I'm that bestie who always tells the truth. The bestie that when you put on an ugly dress, they tell you, girl, that dress is not working for you. What else do you have in your closet? Because this is not doing it for you. I'm that bestie. Like, I'm gonna tell you the truth. And the truth is you really gotta grow some thick skin and dive into it. One of the things that I'm learning every single day is that the very thing that makes you afraid, that's a sign of what you should be diving deep into. If sales make you scared, don't turn away from it, dive into it, right? Dive into it so that you can start to perfect this thing. And I even talked to my clients the other night about how even if you hire a team, you still got to know how to sell. Because what happens when someone on your team gets sick or they can't work? What happens when you got two people on your team who can't work and you still got goals you got to hit? You want to be able to hop in there and take care of your baby, which is your business, right? And so that fear, that number one is the fear of rejection. Okay. Now let me talk about the second fear that you got to overcome to increase your sales, and that is the fear of being salesy. The fear of being salesy, y'all. When I tell y'all, when I talk about this story, I'm getting ready to tell you. Well, when I talk about this story on another day, I told you I'm trying so hard not to go into it today. I said I'm getting ready to tell you, but I'm really gonna save this story for another day. So let me stay on track and stay focused. So the fear of being salesy, I believe, came from us just encountering people who don't have any sales skills. They don't have any marketing skills. They don't have any sales skills. And so because of that, they're rude and they're pushy and they're doing things out of desperation. And that does not make us feel good. And so because of that, like, we're afraid to come off like that person. We don't want to be sleazy. We don't want to come off as, slimy and sleazy and untrustworthy. And so we don't want to be salesy in that sense. Right. And so salesy to the point where it's actually offending people. It's actually offending people instead of drawing people in. But two things that I teach. One of the things that's so powerful when it comes to sales is giving before you ask anything. And I feel like a lot of people believe that you get by taking. But the Bible teaches us, for those of you who are believers like me, that you get by giving. And so when it comes to selling, the power of reciprocity can change the game when you give before you ask somebody for anything, or you give before you ask for the sale. And so that is, in my opinion, the number one way to sell without being salesy or feeling salesy is that you give first. And that's why I like to run boot camps, and that's why I give freebies away. So I have free things that you can take advantage of so that you can actually see my teaching style, because not everybody likes my teaching style. Not everybody likes my personality. Thank you to those of you who do, but you get to see how I am. You get to see my teaching style. You get to get an understanding of what my expertise is before you even buy anything from me, because I've given you something first. And so the power of reciprocity, work that reciprocity muscle. I'm not saying give away all your goodies for free, because I'll be the first one to tell you that you need to charge for certain things, or you probably need to raise your prices. But giving before you ask for anything is so powerful. I mean, that could be a whole nother session on just talking about the power of reciprocity in business. Now, the power of reciprocity, like I said, is not giving away everything for free. This struggle usually comes in with those of us who have a background in ministry. I don't know why we're like this, but it's a struggle, because you're like, whoo, I got to start charging for my services now. Like, because now you're in business and you can't do business on the same mindset as you do in ministry. Now, I don't mean all things, right? Because one thing that those of us with that ministry background, we know how to serve, honey. Like, we know how to serve people. And I serve my clients to the best of my ability when it comes to things that they need and things that they're looking for. Like, I make sure they have what they need. I don't like them being stuck. When they get stuck, we work through issues. Like, I really go hard for my clients. But the thing is, you cannot give away all of your stuff in business Like the way, like, you know how we do in ministry, we serve because that's what God has called us to do. Well, listen, God called you to serve in ministry, but he called you to grow this business too, right? So when it comes to business, you can't give everything away because your business has to make money. But for those of you with with a ministry background, you know exactly what I'm talking about. You know the struggle that comes with like actually charging what your time is worth. And it's a struggle. But I'm thankful for my clients who, when they come and I'm like, you need to charge this for that. Like, that is way too low. You need to charge this. I'm thankful when they actually trust me and they forget about like what their fears are. Like, okay, that's really scary. Okay, but this is what I'm gonna charge. You telling me this is what I'm gonna charge? I'm gonna trust you, and this is what I'm gonna charge. And they just go in and dive deep into it and start doing the work and selling at those price points. However, sometimes you just got to work through those mindset issues to be able to charge the way that you should be charging. Okay. So the fear of being salesy, one way to overcome that is to sell by serving. You sell by serving. And that's my main strategy for sales is I sell by serving. And so because when you do that, when you serve people, this is why I'm always telling you ladies, for my ladies, okay, for the gents too, if the gents, I do have a few gents who follow me and buy my products and things like that. And so for the gents too, but I'm always talking to you about how when it comes to selling, or when it comes to that feeling of being salesy, when you serve people first, you earn your right to sell. You have earned your right to sell. If you're giving out free content and you're teaching and you're providing some value, you have definitely earned your right to sell. And you should not feel guilty when it's time for you to sell because you've earned your right to sell. So that's the number one thing. The other thing is to understand that you got to sell, but not all day long, right? Every post that you make on social media should not be buy my stuff or sign up for this or sign up for that, right? But understanding that you got to sell so that your business can grow. But there's a way to sell in a way that's elegant, in a way that is strategic, in a way that doesn't make you feel bad. Actually, it should make you feel good when it's time to sell because you're extending people an opportunity. Okay. Now, think about your ideal clients. Think about the people that you want to serve, your ideal clients or your customers. Now, the first thing to always ask is, okay, is this person your ideal client? Okay, is this person your ideal client? If the answer is yes, if they're your ideal client, okay, the next question to ask yourself is, can I solve their problem? The problem that they're struggling with. If the answer is yes, then you selling to them is not you doing them a disservice. It's you actually serving them because you're offering to solve their problems. When people pay you, when people give you money to solve their problems, that's sales is really just an exchange of value, right? Someone is giving you something valuable in exchange for something that's equally valuable. Okay? It is exactly, it's mutually beneficial. Absolutely. So someone is giving you something in exchange for you giving them something. Okay? It is an exchange. And so that's where so many people get it mixed up, especially those of us with the ministry background, because we feel like, oh, well, I shouldn't be charging this much. And then you start to feel guilty. Hey, Verlanda, you start to feel guilty and you start to feel bad for charging people. But I'm telling you, people pay for what they want. This is not you working in the soup kitchen at the church, but you're trying to charge people for some food that's coming to the soup kitchen. That's not what you're doing, right? You have a business that you got to run. And in order to run that business, you got to charge people. You have to charge people because, and I'm going to tell you another thing too, when people ask you for discounts, those are not your people. They are not your people because you know what? People asking you for a discount, they do not value your work. They do not value your work. And if you don't value your work and you allow them to discount you, then that's a problem. Now, of course, and you can do that because it's your business in specific circumstances. Okay. Now, if you're doing something and you're like, oh, I'm really passionate about this project, I'm not going to charge them anything. That's totally up to you. But I'm talking about the people who can pay you, but they don't want to. That's the difference between you making a decision to do something, for free, or do something at a lower cost. Because if it's something that you're passionate about, go all in. But I'm telling you, when you got people who can pay you, but they just want to ask you for a discount, I'm gonna tell you how you find them, how you find these people. If they have a $500 hairstyle and won't pay you $200, that's a red flag. That is a red flag, right? And so you really have to learn the difference between people who don't value your work and really learning and really understanding, okay, you know what? I need to take this opportunity. And I'm really passionate about this and I want to give back. So there are ways to give back in your business. Another thing too is think about when you're getting those sales, think about those things that you're passionate about. What are those things that you're really passionate about that you want to be able to write checks to? You can support other things through your business when you're charging the right way. If you want to give, like one of the things that my husband and I have really been talking about for years is either like starting our own organization, possibly in the future. But we're passionate about feeding hungry people. Now, for those of you who know my husband, I know he probably would not. This is not something that we really talk about too openly. But my husband is in law enforcement. And he enjoys his job. He loves what he does. He's called to that thing. It's not just a job, it's a calling for him. And he actually spends his own money. And when he comes across people who are homeless or on the street, he'll buy them coffee, and he'll give his food away and things like that. But when you have a business and you're not giving away all your stuff for free, think about all the things that you can write checks for, all those things that you're passionate about that you can turn around and write a check to, because your business is growing and you're busting out of fear every single day and doing what you need to do to take this thing to the next level. Okay. So the fear of being salesy, I'm gonna tell you another thing to overcome that. Build authentic relationships with people. Build real connections with people. And that right there, those two things that I've talked about, by selling, by serving, and by building authentic connections with people, those take away that fear of being salesy. Salesy is when somebody doesn't know you and they send you a cold direct message. I just had a big situation that happened with some cold DMs. And I'm going to tell y'all this story on another day, but I just had a huge situation that happened in my own business like this. I do not teach my clients to send cold direct messages to people. I teach my clients how to build authentic connections with people, because that is the way of business, is building relationships. And the more the more you focus on strengthening your relationship, the more your business is going to grow. I'm telling you, when you're, and I'm another thing too that I had to learn the hard way, as your business grows, unfortunately, your relationships start to change. They start to change. And it just comes along with the territory. Okay. So number one, the fear of rejection. Overcome the fear of rejection to get more sales. Number two, overcoming the fear of being salesy. And I hear a lot of people say that, well, how do I sell without being salesy? I know that's a huge fear. Okay. The other fear is the fear of putting yourself out there in the marketing sense. Okay. So we're going to talk, I'm just calling it the fear of putting yourself out there, because that's what marketing is. And one of the things is, not everybody, but sometimes, like when you're first starting out, you're a secret agent, meaning like the only person who knows what you do is you. Like, so you're a secret agent and nobody knows what you do. You have to tell people what you do. If you are like, let's say, for example, right now you on Facebook. If you on Facebook and nobody knows what you do, that's a problem. Because how you gonna get sales if nobody knows what you do? How you gonna get referrals if nobody knows what you do? Let me tell you something. I've been in the Navy, and I know I have a lot of like veterans in the group. I've been in the Navy. I have been overseas. I have been in very intense situations in the military. Boot camp itself was intense that first week. But I've been in some very difficult situations. And I told myself, y'all gonna laugh at me, but I told myself when I decided I was gonna not renew my contract in the Navy and I was gonna get out, I said to myself, when I get out of the Navy, I'm never doing nothing in my life should be as stressful as being in the Navy. Like when my last ship, I had two full-time jobs. We were deployed for, I don't know, I think it was maybe like 6 months. I had two full-time jobs while being on the ship out to sea. And it was so stressful because I'm literally working, I'm getting up at 6 o'clock and probably not going to bed until about midnight because I had a full-time job that I was doing. And then after I finished that job, I had to go do another full-time job. And I was in this leadership position. So I have people that I have to take care of. And so I said to myself, I'm never doing nothing in my life should be as stressful as being in the military. And if it is, I'm just not gonna do it. When I tell y'all, business is hard, right? And it can get stressful at times, but you got to learn how to manage that stress. So here I am now as an entrepreneur in business, and that is stressful too. But so I said all that to say that business is hard. I told y'all, I'm gonna tell you the truth. Business is hard. And if you're an entrepreneur, if you have a business, I don't care what your business is. I don't care if you sell. Now I mostly work with coaches, mentors, and consultants. However, I do have a product-based business. I sell a barbecue rub. And so I understand how hard business is. And so the thing is, I don't care what you sell. If you sell services, if you sell coaching, mentorship services, if you sell a physical product, business is hard. Even if you're in multi-level marketing, it's hard. And so you should be proud to put yourself out there and say, this is what I do. I have a business. This is what I do. Because it's hard, and y'all always hear me say it's hard in these business streets, right? It is hard out here in these business streets, and you should be proud to be an entrepreneur. You should be proud to have a business. And so putting yourself out there is letting people know that you're in business and you're ready to start taking customers and clients. If you're not putting yourself out there, people don't know what you do, then that's a sign right there that you need to let people know what you do today. Soon as we get done with this video, you need to make an announcement and say, this is my business and this is what I do. Okay. One of my clients posted about a service that she provides and ended up getting so many new clients off of that one post. Because now it's like, oh, that's what she does. I know some people who need that. Because people, when they know what you do, they can start sending people to you. They can start connecting people with you, even if that person is not your client. They may know some people who may be your client. Okay, so that's the first thing I want you to do when we get done here. If no one knows what you do, you need to share that today and let people know this is what and you can even send an email. Now I'm not saying spam people. Now I'm talking about your friends. You can send an email, you can send a text and say, hey friend, this is what I do for my business. Do you know anybody who might need help with this? You know anybody? This is the problem that I solved. Do you know anybody who needs my help? You'll be surprised. I always say this. You probably got a handful of clients around you right now in your midst. That you may have their phone number already. You may have their email. You may be connected with them on Facebook or on whatever social media platforms you're on LinkedIn, on YouTube. You may already be connected with your first round of clients right now. But if they don't know what you do, you can't complain about not having enough sales when nobody knows what you do. Okay. So think about the low hanging fruit. Think about what you can reach for and grab right now. And I'm telling you right now that there are people around you right now who need your services, but they don't know what you do. And one of the reasons why you're not selling enough is because nobody knows what you do. Okay. Now, people always say that, you always hear people talking about their haters. Listen, haters are a real thing. But I'm telling you, the reason why people talk about haters so much is because of the amount of irritation that they bring, right? They're irritating. Haters can be painful if you allow them to be. And so the idea of having haters is amplified. I got haters, you got haters. We all got haters, right? But here's the thing. There are more people rooting for you than hating on you. And when you tell people what you do, you'll be surprised at how many people will start to connect you. If you just make a simple post saying, "Hey guys, this is my business. This is what I do. Do you need this service or do you know someone who may need this service? I would love for you to introduce me." Boom. Done. And so people in your circle, listen, the ones in your circle, remember I said there's you have more supporters than you do haters. I guarantee you. I guarantee. And so you'd be surprised at how many people would support you and connect you with other people. Now, I do believe, you know how we talk about moving in silence? I do believe in moving in silence with some things. However, when you're an entrepreneur, you cannot move in silence when it comes to your business and people doing what you do. Give yourself permission to be loud about it. Okay? I'm not talking about posting every 5 minutes about what you do, but give yourself to be proud of what you do and be loud about it. Meaning letting everybody know, shouting it to the world. This is what I do, and this is who I help. Do you know somebody? And watch what happens. Okay. But you might have a few haters come out the come out of the cracks, but you're gonna have more people cheering you on and more people supporting you and more people inboxing you, sending you messages saying, "Hey, I know somebody who needs a website," or you know what, I know somebody who needs an eating plan because they were diagnosed with something and they need a new eating plan, or I know somebody who wants to write a book. I know somebody who wants to start a coaching business. Watch people start cheering for you and sending you some people. Okay, so we just talked quickly about 3 fears to overcome to increase your sales. We talked about the fear of rejection, the fear of being salesy, and the fear of putting yourself out there. So I want to encourage you to sign up for the Brand and Demand Bootcamp. For those of you who are watching on wherever you're watching, if you're watching on Facebook, LinkedIn, or YouTube, you can go to brandanddemandbootcamp.com and get signed up for the Brand and Demand Bootcamp. It is my free 5-day workshop for coaches, mentors, and consultants. I talk about brand messaging. I teach on how to create offers that sell. I talk about how to put together your 90-day marketing and game plan and so much more. It is a week of diving into all things branding, all things marketing your brand. And I don't just teach, I actually get my hands into the mix to actually help you to get clarity on some things. So it is a time for you to ask questions. It is a time for you to pull on my brain. This is the only time you get to pick my brain for free. You get to pull on my brain. So I will answer any and all questions around anything that I teach that week. So you got time to ask questions. And the way that I teach in the environment that I teach, it is a safe place for you to be able to ask questions. You know how you have questions that you're like, oh, I feel like I should know this, and I'm embarrassed because I don't know this. It is not like that in any of my workshops. You are free to ask questions, even if you feel like you should know this already, because I actually specialize in those who are brand new to starting a coaching business, not necessarily new to what you do, but new to doing it in a coaching or mentorship setting. And so sign up, brandanddemandbootcamp.com. And I'm also running a special inside of the group. So if you're watching me from LinkedIn, you got to come over to the Facebook group. I'm running a special where you get a free sales class on Friday night if you invite other people to the group as a thank you. And like I said, this is something I usually only reserve to teach to my clients. However, I'm opening this up to you as a thank you for inviting other people to the group. So I will see you again very soon. The Brand and Demand Bootcamp is kicking off on Monday, January the 24th, and we're going all week. And I'm so excited. For those of you who know me, you saw that smile come up, and you know that's because I love to teach. But I will tell you, I usually try to wrap up each session in an hour or under. Sometimes I go over an hour, but I really try to keep the sessions under an hour or less. But it depends on the questions that people have, and sometimes I may go a little bit over. The sessions are going to happen at 12 noon every day, and then I'll run a replay at 7 o'clock at night. This time I'm actually opening up Zoom. So if you don't want to watch in the Facebook group, you can actually watch on Zoom. You can come in to Zoom, and that Zoom session will be broadcasted to the Facebook group. So that's another option for you. For those of you who want to get a little bit of a closer connection, come on in Zoom and hang out with us for the Brand and Demand Bootcamp. All right. Well, you have a wonderful day, and I'll be seeing you again real soon.